Congratulations for being accepted to participate in the Pacific Southwest Addiction Technology Transfer Center's Change Team Facilitation Academy. Your next step in this process is to view 5 online modules, each between 10 and 15 minutes in duration, and then complete a brief post-test at the conclusion of Module 5. In this module, you will be introduced to the concepts of organizational change and technology transfer and the use of facilitators and change teams to enhance agency implementation and process improvement efforts. As a result of viewing this module, you should be able to compare and contrast implementation and process improvement strategies for improving behavioral health care service delivery. Describe the key components, phases, and outcomes of an organizational level intervention known as the OPII. Demonstrate an awareness of how process improvement strategies such as PDSA could be applied in your practice setting. And finally, evaluate your agency's readiness to change team member selection, and potential colleagues who could make good change team facilitators. The field of substance use disorder treatment services are constantly buffeted from a variety of forces involving both large-scale societal shifts and changing policy, regulatory, and financing requirements. Research suggests that widespread adoption of evidence-based practices takes, on average, 17 years, and that only about 1/2 of all evidence-based practices get widely adopted. The Addiction Technology Transfer Center's model describes a multidimensional process that intentionally promotes the transfer of new innovation, knowledge, technologies, practices, and/or skills from one setting to another, starting with the development of the innovation and continuing through to its dissemination, extending to its implementation in routine practice settings. Implementation incorporates a range of purposeful strategies designed to address individual, organizational, and systems issues associated with the incorporation of innovations into routine practice. These strategies can include staff selection, pre-service and in-service training, ongoing consultation, and organizational coaching. The use of facilitators and organizational change teams are 2 specific, well-evidenced implementation strategies. Quality improvement is defined as the systematic and continuous actions that lead to measurable improvement in healthcare services and the health status of targeted patient groups. Quality improvement metrics and methods are closely aligned with those of technology transfer. The Health Resource Service Administration's 4 principles for quality improvement provide good guidance for facilitators. Work as systems and processes, focus on patients, focus on being part of the team, and focus on the use of data. As we apply the quality improvement framework to improve behavioral health care services, we need to be clear and specific about what we are trying to accomplish. We need to identify ways to simply, reliably, and validly measure our performance, and then identify and implement specific changes in practice and procedures, assessing whether or not these changes actually impacted our measures of performance. We follow and repeat this process multiple times, evaluating different changes and following the 4-step process known as PDSA. We plan, we do, we study, we act. We act by adopting, adapting, or abandoning the changes we just tested. sometimes referred to as rapid cycle testing. The PDSA approach to quality improvement is designed to provide teams with a quick and straightforward way to identify and evaluate new practice innovations to improve patient care. One strategy for stimulating organizational quality improvement and technology transfer capacity is through the use of facilitation, guided efforts by either internal or external organizational staff to support multiple systems level changes through provider or team-based coaching. Facilitation is recognized as critical to the success of many implementation efforts. It's important to consider that facilitation is both a role and a process. As a facilitator, your role will be to engage in a set of practice behaviors to effect facilitation of change, improvement, and/or implementation among the members of a change team. As facilitators, we work to make change easier for others and to provide structure for the team through meeting facilitation and team communications. Facilitators provide opportunities for team members to explore and change their attitudes, habits, and ways of working. It's important to recognize the social role aspect of facilitation. A key role of the facilitator is to create a team culture that is collaborative and problem-solving oriented, promoting communication and relationship among and between change team members, promoting professional and leadership development within the team, and providing structure and support toward project management are some of the more critical roles that facilitators perform. Drawing parallels to motivational interviewing, a facilitator, like a therapist, best serves by guiding and enabling rather than prescribing the change. The skilled facilitator possesses both diagnostic and intervention skills. Assessing organizational climate and group dynamics can identify potential impediments and barriers that hamper team effectiveness. Informed by organizational assessments, the facilitator is better informed to prescribe and provide various organizational level interventions or strategies. The job duties of the facilitator are all about making things easier for the members of the change team, managing the meeting, taking responsibility for group cohesion and shared decision making, observing, interpreting, and responding to the group dynamics are the essential duties and services that facilitators provide. The facilitated change team model that you will be learning about and using is based upon a change team model developed and evaluated as part of the National Institute on Drug Abuse funded CJ-2 multi-site study. The organizational process improvement intervention was used in developing interagency change teams between probation or parole units and community-based substance use disorder and reentry provider agencies. The OPII model tested used non-aligned external facilitators to develop interagency change teams. In your situation, you may be serving as an internal facilitator within your own agency. The OPII also incorporates many of the elements of process improvement, including the PDSA rapid cycle testing, a core element in the NITEX model of process improvement. The OPII consists of 5 phases or stages that a facilitator will follow in designing, supporting, and sustaining an organizational change team. The phase durations provided here are approximate. Variation will result from varying degrees of organizational cohesion, administrative support, and the complexity of the team's improvement goals. For the PSATTC project, we have estimated an 11 to 12 month cycle time for you and your change team to complete the 5 phases of this approach. The first stage of the model is preparation. Lasting anywhere from 30 to 90 days, the major activities during this phase include assessing both your external and internal environments, identifying general practice areas for change, engaging executive leadership sponsorship, and engaging the coworkers and colleagues that will comprise your change team. The preparation phase is completed when the facilitator holds a change team kickoff meeting to facilitate cross-team shared learning and change team project planning, design, and commitment. The facilitator, in conjunction with agency leadership, will recruit and engage 6 to 10 individuals to serve on a change team. These individuals should represent varying levels and/or disciplines within the organization. The recommended size of the change team has been found to represent an optimal size for developing deep group cohesion, efficient facilitated shared decision making, and appropriately sized to ensure individual member follow-up on team tasks. Once you have formed your change team and convened your initial kickoff meeting, your next task is to facilitate the change team as they go about gathering information that provides diagnostic and operational detail of the relative strengths and areas of improvement in the targeted practice areas. Common processes used during this phase can include organizational walkthroughs, flow charting, SWOT analyses, administrative data mining, client or staff surveys and focus groups, and organizational readiness to change assessments. The purpose of the needs assessment phase is to facilitate the change team members' capacity to make high-quality decisions regarding the focus and methods of their proposed change targets. With the completion of the needs assessment, the facilitator's next task is to assist the change team in generating a range of thoughtful and innovative approaches to address the identified high-priority targets for change, thoughtfully considering and prioritizing the recommended approaches for change, and developing a change team plan of implementation. Using task analysis and project management group processes, the facilitator guides the change team through the development of project objectives, timelines, milestones, and resource needs of the change team's implementation and improvement targets. With the approval of the team's implementation plan by executive sponsorship, the change team now goes about the activity of carrying out the action steps of that plan. The role of the facilitator here shifts to focusing on maintaining active communication among change team members and monitoring change team milestones. The frequency of change team meetings may reduce during this period to bi-weekly or even monthly, and may make use of virtual platforms. Following the team implementation plan, the facilitator checks in with individual team members to monitor task status and completion, and updating the team's implementation plan accordingly. The final phase of the OPII process is a sustainability assessment and report. The facilitator supports the change team in a summative review of their successes and progress in achieving their stated goals. The focus of the change team deliberations at this meeting are twofold. First, did we accomplish our goals? What lessons did we learn? Second, What are the team's recommendations going forward, both with regard to sustainment of the targeted practice and the continuation and adaptation of the change team? This concludes Module 1. In this module, we introduced the ATTC technology transfer model and identified facilitation as an evidence-supported organizational intervention to support technology transfer efforts. We explored the 5 phases of the organizational process improvement model and the key tasks of the facilitator during these phases. In the next module, we'll explore more deeply the roles and responsibilities of change team members and the characteristics of good change team members.